What's going on, guys? So today on this Shoky Quickie, which probably won't be that much of a quickie, we're going to be taking a look at the second of the Ronin warrior figures from Sentinel, and it is their Sage of the Halo, otherwise known as the green one. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I don't know if this is on purpose or if okay, it's on purpose, it goes all the way around, but it's like white on this side and it's green on the others. So I've had this guy for quite some time, you know, a few months, and I've just been lazy. I haven't bothered to get around to reviewing it. So either way, here on the front you got the Ronin Warriors logo, Sentinel logo over there, Sage of the Halo, I assume it says something like that. He's the green one. I don't understand what it means exactly, but you know, whatever. Image of the armor there kind of faded into the background. Nice image of Sagey Boy there. Come around here. You got him good to go. Says Ronin Warriors. It's awesome. Come around here to the back. You've got armor, Sage in the armor, and so on and so forth. Different poses. And spoilers, I've tried to do this pose to the best of my ability, and I barely made it happen. There's definitely some clearance issues with this one that actually generally come down to the sword, because it's a big old sword thingy. So you got Chodan Kadu Ronin, Warrior Sage of the Halo, all this kind of stuff down here. And you got the little guy with the toilet. That's funny. Ages 15 and up. Hey, I'm right in the middle of that. And hey, look, you have retail customer service. That's pretty cool. And I did pick this up from Big Bad Toy Store. Good luck ever finding it again, if I'm honest. Oh, by the way, I want to point this out on the top. So all the warriors have their own symbol, but it's not always visible. His is kind of a green lightning bolt. At least here it's a green lightning bolt on the thing. It's gold. Either way. So let's get that out of the way. And then from within the box, you get the instructions, which actually are fairly well important for this guy because there is some stuff that you may or may not know. So it does show you, you know, here's everything that comes in the box. That's always a good thing. There's how to replace the faces. And then it shows you step by step how to put on the armor, which is handy. Please read that info. Same thing with this right here, especially considering that this has to go on a very specific direction. Make sure you're paying attention when you do that. And then come to the back, shows you how to do the options for the back. You can either have a blank piece or you can have the sword holding piece, up to you. And then it also shows that you can break his sword down into other weapons if you're so inclined. And then it also shows how to mount the sword on the backpack, which is actually a fairly important thing, because when it comes down to this part where you're really getting that kind of star-shaped, you know, handle or guard in place, it kind of is wonky. Although I didn't realize this is interesting. So when you're putting it in just armor mode, you include the hair. That's pretty funny. I don't see why you would do that because it's not even there. So either way, put that aside. And while I already have the armor and the figure out, I wanted to bring out the remaining accessories that are not being used in their tray here. Okay, and I will show off some of these obviously as we go. So this is not an easy way to do this. So you do have his yelling face, his calm face, his masked up face. You have the back of his hair for when he's in the helmet. You've got different sword holding hands between here, just depending. You got an open hand, fist, and I believe this is another, oh, that's another sword kind of holding hand. And these aren't for anything, that's for snapping them together. You obviously have the spot where all the sword and bits go. And then you also have the tiny little backpack filler piece. So I'll show that off too. So being careful with this as it is. And then we'll bring in Sage himself. He looks good. Looks really good. And I've had him in this pose for a while. I really do dig it. And Sage, I think, was one of my favorite characters. It's just a cool guy with the blondish hair. I don't know, once again, I'm starting to think I have a thing for green as well. He's leaning a little bit forward on his toes, so I need to make sure I flatten that foot out. as much as I can. There we go. So yeah, he's pretty freaking cool. And let's see here. As a figure, we need to check him out. I do him leaning forward, so let's just straighten him completely. A very base form thing. And as you can see, I've got a fist and an open hand on him. The open hand seems a little strange, like it's almost like too big. All right, and come up and let's zoom in on that face. And of course, without the helmet, you know, you just get the one-eyed look. He does have another eye under there. It is sculpted in. You do have the crazy anime hair that is shaded, by the way. That's not just shadow. It is shaded properly. It looks pretty cool. He does have this square hole back here because all the bodies are the same on them, but he doesn't have a peg that plugs into it like Reveiw does. Also, the exposed screws, it just feels like they could have tried harder. I get that for the most part, you're going to have these guys in their armor, probably, so you don't need that, but it's just kind of a point of pride situation, you know? The other thing is, that's always a bit of an issue with these guys, is making sure the neck is aligned with the head and the body. So the head is just a kind of a ball peg with a post that goes up through the face and the hair, stuff like that. And then you have more a ball joint at the bottom of the neck, you know, the neck sculpt. By the way, they do have like ridiculously long necks and whatnot. He does have a ball joint into the torso, gives him a lot of movement there. You do get a swivel for a butterfly joint there. And then you have the shoulder, which is a little tight. I guess it was stuck in place. If you get all of it up there, you get a nice little reach up. Turn that down. And then the whole thing rotates. I gotta believe that like this can rotate on its own. Yeah, it can. So this will rotate on its own, but that will rotate too. Don't ask how. And then the shoulder armor flip-floppies, those are just there. You got bicep rotation, which is always a good thing. You got double jointed elbows, which are good for that much movement. You got forearm armor, which does come off. The back of the hand armor, that does come off as well. And you get rotation at the wrist, both inside and here, and then you get the wrist hinge that you have to align the direction you want to actually do stuff, which that's the hardest thing to do sometimes. Now you do get more of a ball joint into the pelvis, so he can be all swivelly. These guys are very, very articulated. And you do get, of course, a perfect Jean-Claude for the most part, just T-mounted ball joints, surprisingly good clearance. Because there's no skirts or anything. Now kicking forward, a little bit less, because the way the metal diaper happens here. And then going back, also a little bit less due to the metal diaper. And then you do have thigh rotation up here. Double jointed knee, more than you'll really ever need. And then the foot, like the ankle is very similar to the wrist, where you can rotate it here. And I have a feeling if you tried hard enough, you can get it rotated there. But you get forward and back, and yes, the toe comes off because it's part of it. And then you get the toe pivot, toe point, and side to side, and then the ankle handles. The heel handles, I don't know what those do, but they're there. Very nice, like so. And just for giggles, we bring in the fearless leader, whose hair just decided to fall off as I literally just set him down. So you can tell. Same body. It is what it is. I don't know if they're all meant to be the same height. I think Sage was slightly taller. I think Ronin is technically meant to be slightly taller, which we'll be looking at next time. So it is what it is. We'll get Reveiw out of here. And let's play around with some of the accessories, at least in this form. So let's grab his spare faces. And we'll worry about the hands in armor mode, because that's, I mean, the hands are either expressive or they're holding stuff, either way. So you want to grab the head and just pull straight up. So like I said, it's on a ball joint right here that's usually pretty tight. Make sure you keep the thing there locked in place. And you want to pull forward from here, so it's the whole front of the head comes off, and then the face pushes back off like that. So you got the smirky face. We can go with the very serious face. Come on. Dang it. Really? Oh, how about I do it this way? Install it here first. Stupid. It would just happen to be stuck on the other one. Okay. And then do that number. So now he's very straight-faced, very serious. And then let's get him angry. Number 3, they're numbered, which is kind of cool. 3-face. Let's go 3-face here. And now you get Screamy Yelly Face, which is cool. So I can put it on here where he's yelling, Armor of Halo, Dao Chi. Something. He's definitely yelling about something. I'll set those in there. All right. And I guess it's kind of just time to look at the armor. All right. So here is the armor on the cool little, what I would call a shadow buck. So it's got a display thingy there. And it does come with the little chair. It's hard to see, but it's right there. And yeah, looks fantastic. All green and whatnot. And, you know, you can turn it around and check out his big ass sword. String across the back. Looking pretty cool. Got the symbol there on the armor. Yeah, so each of them had, I guess, like a quote-unquote elemental symbol. So it's just something that's neat. Now, I do have a plan for how to display these guys in the future. And I do think I will display the armors like this, but I'm not sure. So, like, I have an idea where I want to take, like, my whole Billy shelf and, like, have it sectioned off into 5 sections, you know, once they all come out, and build it up to look like a dojo, like a proper, like, Japanese, you know, old school dojo, paper walls, raw timber, that kind of stuff like that, and have each section with each armor, and then, like, on the paper walls behind it have their emblem, and then in the middle above Review's, I'll have more of a shrine built up behind it with the archway, and then have the Inferno armor there. So the funny thing is, they put up the Inferno armor, I don't want to rant on a rant here, they put up the Inferno armor for pre-order even before, I think before Rowan's. I could be wrong. So I have the Inferno armor on order, but they have not showed us Kento or Sai just yet. But I think at either Shozy or something like that, they have shown off at least one of them. And I know Bandai has their Armor Plus series, but it does not work with this. It has a different aesthetic, especially now that they're all metallic and stuff. I think these are far more tune accurate. So just real quick, since we're here, we're going to go ahead and bring over our previous armor with the Wildfire. And you see, like, the armors just look cool like this, especially in kind of the black void that I've got going on here. You know, I want to reorient the hands. It actually looks kind of cool when you have the hands oriented inward. And you see the armor instead. Or just pull off the back of the hand. I will say that Reveiw still has the most issues. And maybe it's just age, like, because he is the first one. What the heck? Found that. There it goes. Okay. The magnets in the knees and stuff like that are still an issue. And he's having issues with his joints, which we'll probably see throughout this review, in fact. But, like, I think that having the armors themselves displayed would be a very cool way to go about it. And I know there's probably crazy people out there spending double so that they could have a version of the armors separate from the Ronin warriors themselves, which is fine, but then you end up with, you know, way extras, you know. Now that I think about it. Nope, never mind. All right, so let's go ahead and do the thing where we armor up our warrior. Okay, so let's go ahead and get Sai armored up. Actually, I'm going to push the armor back out of frame for just a second because we have to go ahead and remove all this stuff. So we're going to pull off the armor on the hands, the armor on. Actually, do we have to even do that? I don't think so, but we're doing it anyways. Pulling off all the armor that we don't need anymore. Pulling off the toesies. Sneezing. Make sure you sneeze. If you don't sneeze, it doesn't count. Alright, pull off the shoulder bits, like so. And then we're going to yank off the hair, like so. And yank off the whole head. And I think, yeah, we'll just remove the whole head. The rest of it's going to happen within the helmet. So now we have a headless Sage. Did I say Sai? I might have said Sai. Either way. So we come over here. We're going to pull up on the helmet, which once again I found out requires the hair, apparently, even in this form. Okay, so we want to yoink the shoulders up, except they don't want to come off. Yeah, this is what happens because of the angle I was working at. I'm working over the camera instead of around the camera. Okay, forearm armor. Pull those off. And yes, they are not reversible, so you can't necessarily screw it up. Whatever, helmet. Just being dumb. Grab the hand armors. I'm pretty sure the hand armors are exactly the same, so I don't think that was necessary. And these are technically held on by magnets. Also, no real discernible difference between the two, I don't think. I don't think there's an L and an R on these. No, so you could even get those backwards if you wanted to. I don't suggest you do so, but you can. Okay, so we want to grab the front of the crotch, pull that off, grab the butt back there, pull that off, and then the two side skirts will unplug from each other, like so. It'd be so much easier if it was just magic whooshing, you know. Where's the focus? I think it's on my thumb. Okay, and then here you've got tabs from the front that come down and lock into the back. And then we set that aside along with the thing. And we may as well go ahead and get started here. So we're going to go ahead and slip this on and over his body, like so. And tab together. And generally speaking, if you watch the Reveiw review, the hardest part is this part, just because you have to get things tabbed in together, at least temporarily, so that you can manage to grab, say, like this little butt skirt friend here, which I believe that's on correctly. So the back tabs together, and then the front just sort of sits near each other. And then you come in with this piece, which you have to split the skirts just a little bit, and then that'll lock those together. Knee armor, or sorry, knee/shin armor. The greaves, I believe, is what we would call those. Foot pieces, like I said, those are also interchangeable, so there's no wrong way to do those. Because they're not angled or anything, they just sit flat to the foot. Okay, do the forearms. You have the L-shaped key there. Dink. Then dink. Come to the other arm. So part of me wishes like there was like a magnet in here to hold these on a little bit better too. Like adding a magnet, like not just leaving the key or getting rid of the key part, but okay, so for these you want to drop them down right where the old armor used to be. And apparently this side is tight. There it goes. Okay. So now we need to do the helmet. Yeah, trying to get everything in line is crazy. Okay, so helmet. and pull it apart like so. Grab that so you have the entire head here. You want to grab the back of the hair, which in theory should have already been there, but you weren't paying attention to the instructions, so, you know. So that goes up in there. And then let's go with the armored up face for now. And it fits just like it does to the hair. This really reminds me of a Gundam as you're assembling a Gundam head. It's almost exactly like that, if I'm honest with you. Okay, so now I have a leftover blank face, and we drop his head onto that peg carefully. Like so. And now we have Sage of the Halo all armored up and looking good. The head's still sitting a little high, it seems, but I think it's okay. Alright, so one thing is the back of his helmet is so low, it like causes some issues. Which we will get into some of those issues later because it will pertain to this bad boy. Now, we didn't really look at the sword before. Let me go ahead and remove that. So, stay off camera. So, sword, pretty good representation of his big old sword. It's got the hook there, it's got that there, it's got the spike at the end, and you can pull this apart, so that's its own blade if you want it to be. You can pull it apart so that you have this little shuriken, kind of, and then you have a stabby thing. It's almost a kunai, almost. So you can mess with these individually if you want to. I'm going to grab a couple hands here. So he does have a totally round holding hand. This is specific for the sword, so that's good. It even fits like a glove. Actually, since we're here, go ahead and throw that on. So yeah, that works out just fine. Like so. And then when you're reassembling the sword, there's a bigger hole on this side to recess into the handle. Try to align that to that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just if you are a little OCD, you want to get everything lined up. And we'll mess with the hands and stuff. We'll try to do poses and whatnot later. Because he can and cannot do his famous poses. Now, while I was in between shots here, I did pull off this back piece that held the sword on. That's an issue. So you can just remove the blank piece and take that piece, it's got the hook on it, and it will just plug in there. And it only goes in the one way, so don't worry. Wow, I hope I can find that. Alright. Good God, stand on your feet. You're not quite a man anymore, you lost your head, but stand on your damn feet. Okay. So the funny thing is that like sometimes it will just come shooting out of there, and other times it's friction done perfect. Okay, so let's show this real quick before I get into sword posing. Okay, so that is his head plugged on. Sort of. What the hell? See, look, the actual back of the helmet is hitting the armor and causing the head to be slightly crooked. So like it's hitting here and causing issues. So let's show this off. So you're supposed to take the sword, grab this. Now this is something I did not pay attention to in the instructions. So you're supposed to take it apart to do this, and then you rotate it like so. Bring this in, and now you kind of want to rotate the shuriken out of the way, and then try to plug it in. And as you'll see there, it just popped off. But as you'll notice, it's now snug up against the armor, which means that if you move this thing, or try to move the shoulder around, or even sometimes move the head around, it's going to get clogged up. Now, that's about the right position for it. So it is what it is. And before we go too far, I will compare him to Reveiw, who is all armored up. As soon as I get this frickin' heal thingy to work. There we go. And I will say this other knee pad here is not wanting to cooperate. Like, I think it's like sticking on with friction, but not with the magnet. It's kind of a bad design, if I'm honest with you. Okay, let me get Reveiw. Okay. I'm going to very carefully do this because Reveiw doesn't like to stand much. Apparently neither does Sage. God dang it. Apparently I need to utilize those heal spurt thingies. Man, that head does not want to stay on today. Come here. That might be the hair, because I've previously never used the hair. Something I also did with Reveiw just now, arming him back up, was adding the hair to the back of the head. So apparently you're supposed to do that. It's just I never really did. Okay. So those two are together. The sword fell off the back, because of course it did. See, this is the problem, and I'll warn everybody about this here. One of the biggest issues with these is the more you do things with them, the looser everything that you do gets. His leg armor won't stay on. This just barely held on. The magnet's not doing anything. This hip, you'll probably see over time, he'll just start doing the splits. This hip, insanely loose. The toes, very loose. The shoulders, very loose. Like, there's just enough friction to keep him organized at the moment. So, but I'm not really here to complain about Reveiw. I'm here mostly to complain about Sage. I'm not really complaining, but yeah, I think the biggest issue, honestly, is just that the sword doesn't stay on the back very well, because they made that shuriken thing just a hair too big. Like, maybe just shave it down a little, or maybe, I don't know, give us an alternate one for that mode. I don't know, for lack of a better term. You know, it would probably work out. Also, if you guys were wondering, you can take the pieces off and put them on the little body bucks here, even to the point that in theory you should be able to use what remains of the heads, which is as weird as it gets. You know, you can technically do that. Let's see here. Will it work? It might work. I don't know. Actually, it might not. This one might not do it, because the Reveiw head's a little different. Is that in the Reveiw head? Oh, okay. So I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize their face masks were different. That's cool. So I was actually trying to put the wrong head on the wrong piece. So there's that. I mean, just showing you this for silliness sake, but it's a real thing you can do. So you can take the hair and unite it with the leftover blank face, and take the extra armor and bits and store it this way. You know, if you're down for it, you know. Because here's the Sage parts, as it were. Dang it. I can't hold on to anything, guys. Alright. So, for instance, let's say I took this face off, the Screamy Mimi face. Put this here. Put his hair. Oh, wow. Okay. Actually, that might not fit too well because of that thing. But look, there's that. That's really silly. I'm not gonna lie, that's really silly. Okay, so come on, plug up in there. There we go. It's not liking that, really. Let's be honest here. That's weird. Okay, so set that aside. Stop playing with that dumb stuff. And we'll get Reveiw out of here again. Once again, legs are very loose now. Like, he's still got a lot of tension in the legs, so that's a good thing. So let's take the sword off. Just go ahead and pull the whole thing off the back. And rotate, pull that out. If you were going to leave that there just for display you know, I would find the best possible way to do it. It's if they made that part stick out just a little bit further, little less problem. They made this just a little bit smaller, less problem. So it's just that they did a whole bunch of stuff that led to that problem. Okay, so sorry, I had to I was struggling to get all these freaking hands out of here. Okay, so I want to try to recreate this Obari kind of pose here, which is pretty much what that is. And by the way, he does come with hands that are meant to hold the shuriken and stuff like that. That's these that have a much tighter grip, and got left and right. Didn't really cover that. But like this, you know, you can see a much smaller hole. But we're more interested in the left and right sword holding hands here. So we're going to try to recreate the Obari pose to the best of our abilities. I never tried the over the shoulder swing though. That'd be an interesting one. And I'm definitely a fan of that one. That just cool pose. So that'll probably be like my standard pose for him. First and foremost, I'm going to swap out this face real quick. Like so. I like the straight kind of face. It is interesting that his hair thing doesn't come down over his eyes when he's in this mode. And I think there was like one or two, I googled it once just to see. There's only like one or two scenes where he ever had it that way. Okay, so let's pull the hands off. First and foremost. Pull that hand off. I need the back of the hand. In theory, I have a hand that's good to go. But, you know, whatever. And put this back on here. Now, one thing that sucks about putting the hands back on is this is a very, very small ball peg. And it moves because it's on a hinge. So sometimes it is a giant pain in the buttocks. So go ahead and pull this one off. Now, mind you, that's with the extra back of the hand. So I don't think, I have to look, but I don't think there's any difference, realistically, between the non-armored backs of the hands and the powered-up versions. If there was any difference, I would have said it was the size, but I don't even know if that's true. Okay, so I'm trying to do is rotate it. It's stuck. Okay, I think that's in. It's a weird angle, though. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so hold on. Let's see here. I think they're identical. Okay. So, now we need to take the handle. Might as well just do this. Alright, so we want his head tilted this way. We want this arm out straight with the armor turned this way. Use that shoulder joint. And the actual hand is going to be this way, so you want the wrist to be oriented that way. Now this arm is going to be back at the same angle. And then this is coming across like this, and basically like here. Got to utilize a butterfly, like I said. And this handle, or this wrist, must be like that. So it's a big long handle, and we're going to feed it through here, through there, and it's actually pretty good. It's pretty good lock there. Funny thing is, the shoulder is not, or the arm is not as straight as I want it to be. It's actually curved a bit. Is the wrist pushing it out? What's happening here? Kind of. Okay, so damn head not wanting to stay on as usual. Yeah, so this arm is supposed to be totally straight, but it's not. Get that arm out there. Okay. So that's fine. So let's get the legs out. So we want this one up and then turned like this, foot down, you know, just a mild bend. Then this one out this way, turn, toes out. Okay. So something like that. Make sure you get your feet flat. That is an important thing. Okay, so balls. See, even though he's standing square on his damn legs, it's not good enough. Actually, tilt that head there. See, this is what I said. It gets very finicky and annoying. This would have been a better served as a magnetic piece. Like, truly would have been better. Okay. Now, I'll try to get the damn sword on. Like that. Like that. Okay. So the thing is that it's actually kinked back a bit more. So this hand needs to turn over just a hair. Like that. And then this one is kind of up. Like, so this is the hard part. So looking at the photo, we're pretty close. We're pretty close. Get the head over there a little bit more. Maybe get this leg out a lot more. And by the way, these are all very, very pointy and sharp to work around, so just be careful. But it does look like he's got the sword kinked this way. So I gotta wonder if this shoulder arm... Oh, yep, that's it. Utilize that butterfly joint, get that shoulder up. And then I think this arm wants to turn a little bit more. And then have the wrist kinked. See, the hard you have to synchronize the wrist a bit. And that's actually the hard part. But either way, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's close enough, right? Yeah, so it can do it. It does take quite a lot of finagling. You know, you got to get your joints lined up. The hard part, of course, is with getting the arms. That elbow's a little bit weird, if I'm honest with you. And then utilizing your wrist joints here to try to get it. Would probably be a good one to have with the open mouth, probably. But either way, that's a very cool pose here. So yeah, that'll probably be the thumbnail. But either way, I think we're going to go ahead and end on that one because, well, you know, we've got more Ronin Warrior to do. Got a blue boy to get after. So next time, yes, we'll be looking at Rowan of Strata, or the Strata. But until then, guys, make sure you let me know down below what you think of this. Did you grow up watching Ronin Warriors? Did you see it when you were young? I saw it in my preteens. Pretty much like around the same time Power Rangers was really big. So very similar concept, very similar awesomeness. Also, they totally need to give us both the Warlords and the, like, oh, what were they called? Not the Empire. But either way, give us their soldiers. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Not Empire, but something like that. Either way. So, but I'll catch you guys on the next one. And remember, as always, keep on nerding.